Well, we're just getting underway on rebuilding this Dana 60. The first step was to go ahead and pop the disc or the caliper off. These have a little keeper. Let me show you here, right here. You take out a bolt on the bottom half, and you can drive the keeper out the side, and then the caliper just slides right off. So that's all that is right there. And here's a little bolt actually. I need to put that back in there. Okay, so I don't lose it. But pads are in perfect shape. We're not even going to replace those. I know that sounds silly, but they are in great shape. Looks like someone just did them. Rotors are in good shape. So we are set there, which is a good thing because those rotors are not cheap. And the other thing I went ahead and did, which I didn't think they were going to come out, and they came out as a whole stud. The nuts are in pretty bad shape, but at least they came out. These are 1/2 inch fine thread, so I can either get bolts to replace them or see if I can find some studs. Sad part is they sell the studs where I bought all my Dana Kingpin rebuild kits, but I forgot to order them, and now it's like shipping's expensive. But anyway, I went ahead and popped off. In the top half of the steering arm is the spring that holds the Kingpin bushing you down. It's sitting in there, and then here's the actual bushing, and then there's your Kingpin. Sad part is this thing is actually in really good shape. I probably wouldn't need to be rebuilding this, but I do got to replace those joints, so I got to take it all apart anyway. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it. If it lasted 30 years, I'll go ahead and rebuild it, and should last another 30 hopefully. And I think it was the parts for just the Kingpin rebuild were like $160, so it ain't the end of the world. But once we get these axle assemblies off, we're going to go ahead and clean up the whole axle. We're going to take these old shock mounts off, put the ones off the Dana 44 on there, and should be get it all painted up. We'll slide it in there and we'll be good to go. Finally get back on project here. Seems like I was ready to have a rolling chassis here a week ago, and now here we are still just rebuilding the axles. But alright, well, we'll keep you tuned here on each step of the progress. The next thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take the bolts out of the end of this hub. We're going to pop the manual lock hub out, and then we can start taking out the nuts retaining the wheel bearings. I did buy the special socket from O'Reilly's. I think it was only like 20 bucks. It's money well spent. You don't want to try using a screwdriver on these. They just screw up the nut, and you end up having to get the socket anyway. So okay, with some newspaper laid out, ready to put parts on. We'll pop this hub off. Okay, we'll set that off to the side. And we'll pop this O-ring out, or snap ring. Snap ring out. And then there's snap ring pliers on this inside to get this one out. And take it out. Alright, continuing on, we're going to use our 6-prong socket. You can get these at the Lona Tool, at your AutoZone, some Advanced Auto Parts. I know O'Reilly has them. Since this is the 16 bolt and Dana 60, I'm going to go ahead and just keep the socket. I think it was like 20 bucks. I'm going to need it anytime I ever need to do a brake change on either the front or the rear, so it's just a handy thing to have. Went ahead and got one loosened up here, so I'm going to go ahead and just finish unscrewing it. They come apart pretty good. I mean, they're not supposed to be overly tight. Okay, there's the one nut. You can see all the serrations fit into the socket, just like that. And again, don't use a screwdriver on these. You end up screwing up the nut so that the socket doesn't fit. So then you got a big mess on your hand if you can't get it off. And like I say, for 20 bucks, it's money well spent. It's 20 bucks for a nut replacement. And then again, we got a little plate in here that's like a star wheel with a key. That keeps the nut locked in place once you put it in. So see if we can slide that off here with our fingers. Again, a couple pencil magnets also help with these. This is your locking ring. And then it looks like we got a washer in there. These Dana 60s are nice because they got the big axle housing. You can actually get your fingers in there if you're not too big fingered. This is the one I've also used a couple of Allen wrenches before too, just to slip behind it and suck it out there. Alright, perfect. Like I say, it's just got a little keyway on there. And then after that, we're ready for our breaker bar again to take off that last nut. Once it's lined up, it should pop apart pretty easy. There it just did. I'll go ahead and unthread that. Just take it right off of your hand. Okay, with the last nut off, that should all, it's holding this whole wheel assembly on. That nut off there, just the same nut as the first one. And now, we can just go ahead and slide everything right off. Nice. Now it's actually a good thing that we're doing this. As you can see, hopefully you can see, this seal is all messed up. Look at that. The spring part of the seal has actually been out. So, really glad we're doing this. I'll have to get some seals. I don't have those. And there's your axle assembly. You can see the 6 bolts holding on the backing plate there. You got your shaft. Everything looks to be in good condition on this end. So, alright. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll get that old seal out and we can pull out the stub shafts here and keep going.